तद्भवं पर्यय भेद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात्। ओम योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरी गुरु महाराज की जय। Welcome back to another session, a session where we are all coming together online in the same place at the same time for the same purpose. Isn't that wonderful that we can all come together? That is what yoga is all about. Yujjate anena iti yogaha, it is said. Yujjate anena iti yogaha. Yujjate, that which brings us together. Anything that brings us together in spirit is a type of yoga. Now, for most people, it is, sitting around with friends and having a drink. That's boga, not a yoga. Huh? A yoga coming together is when we come together for a higher purpose, to elevate our spirit, not imbibe spirit, which is where most people come together. This is why the yoga family is so important. Satsanga, coming together. Sangha is to come together. Satsanga is for the higher purpose. And yes, Gitan, this someone found in the cupboard yesterday. And for those who are seeing it in reverse, it may be confusing. I think it was given to Amma, but anyway, she's not going to wear a t-shirt. And it says, all you need is less. Okay, that's in reverse. All you need is less. And I think that's a beautiful message for the world. We always think we need more. All you need is less. And that's a very yogic one. And so I said, I'll wear it today. Otherwise, you have all seen all my t-shirts and got used to it. Satsanga is where we come together with a higher purpose of Sat. Kusanga is where people come together with a lower purpose. And that is the herd mentality. So the herd mentality is that which comes together at the lowest denominator, whereas the Satsanga mentality is coming together at the highest sattvic level. And when we talk about Sattva, and yesterday I mentioned how Sattva Purusha Shuddhi Samye Kaivalyam, when our Sattva, our highest state of purity, and Ishvara or Purusha, both are at the same level, Kaivalya occurs. So it is not about bringing Kaivalya down to you, but you elevate yourself. You get rid of all the mala, all the ashuddhi, all the darkness, all the ignorance. And when you transcend the kleshas and the karma vipaka, the karmic repercussions, cause and effect relationship, you purify yourself until you are the purest you. That is sattva. And when that is the same as Purusha, Kaivalya occurs. So the whole of yoga is a purification process, is a process of transformation. Every moment, mindful transformation. So we have the three gunas. And these gunas are of both the external nature as well as the internal nature. And these gunas are normally described as tamasika or tamo guna. Why it changes to tamo guna is because of the Sanskrit rules when letters come together. The tamasika guna, the tamo guna, the rajasika guna, the rajo guna, and sattvika guna, sattva guna. It doesn't become sattvo guna, it becomes sattva guna. So, tamo guna, rajo guna, sattva guna, or tamasika, rajasika, sattvika. And this concept is found in all Indian traditions. And the Bhagavad Gita devotes an entire chapter on how these gunas come into every part of our life. And there's an old article of mine, maybe it's 10, 12 years old at least, if not 15, published in Yoga Mimamsa, I believe, and it must be on Academia and ResearchGate. You just search gunas Bhavanani or something like that. And you will find that it is very beautiful, because in that, when exploring for that article, I realized how you give, how you receive, how you sleep, how you wake up. Every aspect of life, there is a tamasika way to do it, there is a rajasika way to do it, and there is a sattvika way to do it. And we are constantly making the effort to move from the tamasika to the rajasika to the sattvika. Now, it doesn't mean you don't need the tamo guna, because tama guna is like inertia. It is like gravity. Tamo guna is a necessary evil, like gravity and like inertia. We all don't like the fact that when you fall down, you scrape your knee or your elbow, or you end up with, a broken chin with stitches like me and a few of my dear students who like to be like me. So they said, Dr. Ananda has a scar, I also need a scar. And so they go and fall down. Don't be like that. Huh? Take the good qualities of Dr. Ananda and become better than him. And we don't have to be a clone of anybody. Huh? It's nice to try and elevate ourselves. Tamo guna is inertia. You say, I don't want inertia. Okay, fine. If you don't have inertia, your car cannot run, because the wheels need to grip the surface for the car wheels to turn, for your car to move. You cannot walk any place because your feet have to meet against the inertia of the ground, and that propels you forward. So one has to be very careful. One doesn't say, oh, I don't want tamasika at all. You need tamasika. You need a bit of rajasika, but if you are always active, you're going to burn yourself out. The candle burning at both ends. So what we want is, we want a proper, adequate combination. And we want to constantly be refining the combination. I remember many years ago when Ammaji was teaching at Kambliswami Madam, and thousands of young children used to be taught yoga, dance, music free, given lunch on Sunday, given clothes, school fees paid, swimming in our swimming pool was the big attraction for the kids, and then climbing trees with me. It was the first social revolution of yoga anywhere in the world. Long before anybody brought yoga to the grassroots and to the underserved population, Ammaji and Swamiji did it, and they have not received the recognition they should have received for it. But still, they didn't do it for recognition. But I remember at that time, Ammaji was teaching on Sunday with thousands of kids in the class. And Ammaji said, she had given a talk about the gunas, and she said, how many of you think you are tamasic? None of the kids put our hands up. We all kept them down. How many of you think you are rajasic? A few put their hands up. How many think you are sattvic? Everybody put their hands up. This is a problem with us human beings. We are filled with what Patanjali calls Bhranti Darshana, an illusion that we are already there. We already think we are very sattvic. And the more tamasic we are, the more sattvic we think we are, because it looks like the same. You can be sit dull doing nothing, and then you can be sitting still in a state of samadhi, and externally they look the same. And so people think, if I just sit quietly, I'm in samadhi. As someone said in a class, sit and close your eyes, and now we are all in pratyahara. Seriously. I wish it was so easy. I wish it was so easy. Just sit and close your eyes, you are in pratyahara. What type of dumbing down of the system we have done. Elevated concepts, we have dumbed them down. If you keep your eyes closed, you are meditating. For God's sake, you have just kept your eyes closed, that's all. You are not meditating yet. And you cannot meditate. You have to go into meditation. You can concentrate. You can contemplate. That is the focus that we want. The all-pointed, sarvartha, the mind that is going every place at the same time, scattered. We want to focus it. Just like the sunlight is scattered, we want to focus it. So coming back, with the gunas. The gunas we say three. Tamasika, Rajasika, Sattvika. But if you actually look at it, you can extend the gunas into 9. this is what I'm going to be starting off tomorrow afternoon in the Yantra Vidya Navangam, because that is where the 9 comes. The 3 becomes the 9. 3 plus 3 plus 3, 3 into 3, 9. That is where the 3 as the minimum. That is why whenever we do a practice, we should do it 3 times. Because then you are setting up the current for 3 becoming 3 plus 3 plus 3, or 3 into 3 becoming 9, 9 becoming the unit. This very important unit then becomes units of 9. 9, 27, 54, 81, 108. Yes, Tamasika, Shakti, yes. Shakti is very true there. What happens is when we have an illness or injury, there will be Tamasika. But at the same time, that Tamasika is a positive Tamasika because it is a state of rest and relaxation that enables you to heal. So nature wants you to rest at that time. Nature wants you to rest to heal. That is why whenever in nature animals get injured, they will go and they will sleep it out. They will go and stay in a hole and basically like go into like a hibernation state, where in that the healing process can occur. You are not wasting your energy on other activities. All your prana shakti can go into healing. So it is a very positive tamas, and that is what I am going to explain now. That this 3 becomes extended to 9. So in Tamasika, you have Tamasika Tamas, which is the lowest of the low. Basically, it is a stone, a block of cement. Tamasika Tamas. You put it someplace, it stays there until somebody comes and moves it or something moves it. Tamasika Tamas. Then you have Rajasika Tamas. It is the tamas that is inert, but there is also activity happening in it. It is a very beautiful quality where now the life force is moving, but it is stuck to one place. And then you have Satvika Tamas, which is where there is an inertia, but it is of a positive nature. So coming back to Shakti's question, yes, in illness, there is tamas, but it is often a Satvika Tamas, which is helping us to heal ourselves. Now the problem is, if we don't understand it, we fall back into Tamasika Tamas. So the Tamasika Guna, the Tamo Guna, needs to be kept at the Satvika Tamas while we are healing ourselves. That is where yogic relaxation comes in. You are staying in one place. Shavasana, you are staying in Shavasana 15 minutes. Somebody looking at you will think you are sleeping. In fact, many of the workers in our ashram, if you ask them what do they do in the ashram, they'll say the students just sleep around the whole day. And we come in the morning and we see them on the roof sleeping. We come back little later, we see them sleeping. Come back in the afternoon, they're just sitting still while Ananda is going on and on and on and on. And then we come in the evening and they're all sitting there doing nothing. They are doing nothing the whole day. That is the externalized perspective, because externally it looks like nobody is doing anything. When you are in Shavasana, people think you are doing nothing. You are doing everything in Shavasana. That is why Shavasana is the toughest asana. Because you are in a Tamasika position, but you have to have a Sattvika state of mind. That's why it is a Sattvika Tamas. Then you come to the Rajasika Guna. You have the Tamasika Rajas, which is activity without any purpose. And this is like most people going to work. They go to work, sign in and come back and get the paycheck, but nothing is happening. A lot of people like this. They do a lot of activity with no use. It is like reinventing the wheel. It's a Tamasika Rajas. Then you have the Rajasika Rajas, which are these people who are so active all the time, they're just burning themselves out, but they're helping others. These are many people who are into social activity and they are always doing something, always helping others, but they're burning themselves out. And then you come to the Sattvika Rajas, where your activity has a higher purpose. Through your dynamic activity, you are elevating yourself and you're elevating others and you're elevating society. So Sattvika Rajas. So Tamasika Tamas, Rajasika Tamas, Sattvika Tamas, Tamasika Rajas, Rajasika Rajas, Sattvika Rajas. And now we come to the Sattva Guna. Tamasika Sattvas. You are good but do nothing. These are the good people who sit around doing nothing. And the world actually suffers because of such people. Because the good sometimes need to speak up. Because we think to be good is to let everybody kill you. The first rule in yoga is ahimsa, which implies not only that you are not violent, but you don't let others be violent towards you. You don't allow violence of any kind. Humanity has a big challenge right now in that. There are a lot of good people who are doing nothing about things. The next, Rajasika Sattvas, which is actually quite a good one. And I think we can try to aspire for that, where there is a Sattva Guna and we are actually doing something about it. We are sharing the message. We are trying to change the world. We are trying to be the change we want to see in the world. That is a Sattvika, that is a Rajasika Rajas. That's a Rajasika Sattvas. We were talking about the Tamasika Sattvas being good and doing nothing. It's a bit selfish in a way, I think, that Tamasika Sattvas. Rajasika Sattvas is where actually you are doing a lot with a higher purpose. It is all your activity with a higher purpose. No lower purpose at all. No self-promotion, no sales promotion, no selling your books or your DVDs or your courses, okay? You're just doing it for the sake of doing it. You are doing the activity with a higher purpose. A Rajasika Sattvas. See, a Sattvika Rajas and Rajasika Sattvas are very close in this way. So there's a lot of overlap. And then comes Sattvika Sattvas, the highest state where that purity really manifests. And that is something we can aspire for. Coming back, I thought today I will introduce you to a very beautiful practice, which is a practice that deals with the energy in the form of the sun. And before that, let's get a bit energy moving. Okay, so a bit of leg kicking. Kicking the legs nicely, shaking yourself a bit, giving a nice shake, going in a circle, just loosening up, yeah, but some time, giving a nice loosening, shaking your hand, shaking the opposite, hand and leg opposite. This is very good cross training, very useful for neuroplasticity, self-directed neuroplasticity. Nice shake up, a nice shake down, to your right, to your left, up, down, to your right, to your left, up, and cleaning up everything. Nice fast one, fast. And throw it all out. Feels good. Let's give ourselves a good stretch in the Kala. Bring your fingers together. Going up and on to your toes. A beautiful stretch. And letting go. Again, a nice stretch up. Breathing in, stretching, and out. Feels good. Again, a nice stretch. Stretching up. Healthy stretch. Now, a bit of twisting in a very gentle way. The lower lumbocycle joints. L1 and coming up. So from L5 to L4. 3, 2, L1, T12, T11, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, C7, C6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Giving a good stretch. And from C1, 2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, T7, yeah. So vertebrae, not T. Nerves, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feels really good. Let's do some Malla Kriya as we come down. In, out. In, out. In, out. Very good. That is how we come down and have a nice feeling there. Okay. So today I'm going to start introducing a practice. We'll work on it over the next few days. Called the Surya Prana Kriya. So it is for the sun. Surya is the sun. Those who love the sun, who love light, are called Sura. Those who don't like the light are Asura. So the gods and their demons, the lovers of the light and those who hate the light. Think of what has happened to us human beings, moving away from the light. Sura, Asura. Okay? Now the Surya Prana Mudra, we are trying to bring to us mindfully, consciously the Prana Shakti, the living life energy, the cosmic catalyst from the sun. And so this is normally done facing the sun in the morning. I have the sun here. And what you do is that morning sun, not the evening sun. It's a rising sun. Suryodaya. Udaya is to rise. Suryodayam is the auspicious time. Astimanam, Surya Astimanam is where the sun sets. That is not an energy you want to invoke. You want to invoke the rising sun, which is the anabolic activity. So you want to involve the anabolic activity of growth. You want to have that life enhancing, not the setting part, which is the going down. That is not what we want. We want the energy to come in. So we do it in the morning facing the sun. When the sun is just coming up, not more than 30-40 degrees at most, then it becomes a bit too bright. And what we do is that we use the mudra of Namaskar Mudra at the heart center. This is the heart center. And remember, the heart center is our thymus, which is part of the Anahata concept of the chakra concept. And the thymus is the seat of our cell-mediated immunity, what is called T-cell immunity, which shuts down after puberty. But in yoga, we say that the energy aspects can still be awakened and you can enhance your immunity by working with the heart center. That is why all the practices in yoga that work on the heart center will enhance one's immunity. This is a basic rule of thumb. So the Namaskar Mudra, when you place both your hands together like this at the chest, this is the Namaskar Mudra. Now we start here, and the first part of the movement is where we are going to stretch forward as we breathe in. So we breathe in and we stretch forward. And then when you come to a level where you can see the sun, what you do is that you open up your palms to the sun with the thumbs touching, and you create a nice photo frame for the sun. And like I've created a photo frame for my face, okay? Yeah. You create a photo frame for the sun. That is what you do, okay? And what you are doing is you are exposing the palms with all the sensitive nerve terminals to the early morning sun, so that that sunlight, the prana shakti in the early morning sun, the Usha prana, it is a healing energy. Usha prana, it is called Usha Shakti, Usha prana. You are trying to receive it into your palms, and then as you breathe out, you bring your hands slowly back to the chest, and you are closing it in the heart center. So what you are doing is you are breathing in and you are stretching out. You are breathing out and you are stretching back. So here there is this type of movement. This is breathing in and this is the breathing out. Okay? What are we doing? We are exposing the palms to the sun. The palms have in them the reflexogenic feedback for every organ in the body. If you look at your soles and your palms, every part of the body is represented along this, from your spine, your head and neck, your digestive organs. And that is what they base acupuncture on. The what is called Varma or Varma therapy in South India, which then later on traveled up into China and those regions and became the acupressure and acupuncture that you hear about. Same thing with the ears also. The palms, on the palms you have this beautiful representation of the whole human body and different organs. So when you are exposing the palms to the early morning sunlight, remember early morning sunlight, Usha Prana, what you are doing is you are energizing not just your palms, but you are energizing each and every part of your body, because the prana received into the palms through those nerve terminals by the reflexogenic pathways will go and energize all the organs in the body. So this is not just a practice for the palms. This is not just good for the shoulders and arms because you are stretching it. That is the reductionist attitude of yoga and yoga therapy. You are stretching out and you are receiving. And then that energy you are bringing to your heart center. So the prana that has been received from the Surya Prana Mudra. Surya Prana Mudra, what you are doing is you are bringing that Surya Prana back into your heart center and letting that energy of the solar power, that magnificent prana of the universe, you are energizing your heart center with it, revitalizing your heart center. This is the center where the whole process of respiration occurs. This is the process where the whole circulation is based. And in yoga, we say there is a prana moving here called prana. So this is the area of prana. As the Shiva Samhita tells us, Hridi Prano. This is the Hridaya. The heart region is the seat of the prana. So the Surya Prana is being brought into your prana so that it can start revitalizing your system. Okay? So let's just start doing it. We are going to continue over the next few days and explore this practice, a magnificent practice, very unique to the Gitananda tradition, but based on the Vedic tradition, where the worshipping of the sun and opening the hands to the sun with different mudras has been very much part of the process. The worship of the sun, exposing the hands to the sun, was part of the original Surya Namaskar, that later on then became a physical practice. And this is why the Nyasa and the Hasta Mudra practices are very much part of this. Okay, so we start with the hands at Namaskar Mudra. Breathing out here. Now breathing in and slowly stretching forward, opening until you can see the sun between your hands. Or imagine the sun between your hands if you don't have a sun there. And then slowly bringing your hands back to the heart center as you breathe out. Let's just do a 6 count in and out for 3 rounds. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was just to introduce this practice to you today. Surya Prana Mudra. It is a gesture we are doing, a Hasta Mudra, a hand gesture we are doing to invoke and bring into our system the Prana Shakti, the life energy of the sun, and letting that sun come alive in us. Let us become a Tejasvi, someone who has the Tejas, the beautiful luminosity of the highest Sattvas coming alive in us. Okay? So thank you for being with me. We'll continue this exploration over the next few days. Have a wonderful time wherever you are, either day or night or afternoon. Have a wonderful time. Thank you so much.